Tesla's WeRobot event is just hours away from now, and they've started to email out the actual tickets to the event. So today, let's take a closer look at what they might show off and see if there are any clues in the ticket itself. Second, as we prepare for what to expect at this event, we'll review some of Elon Musk's statements he's made about the robotaxi design and its value to Tesla, and we'll also cover 5 topics that are likely to be shown, including their bull, base, and bear cases. I've got Brian White joining us. Brian is a host of his own YouTube channel. He's one of the top retail analysts out there. Check him out at FutureAza. You will not waste your time. Guaranteed, you will find out this guy is just a banger. You'll find out today. Thank you so much, Brian.
Of course, a pleasure as always. Thank you, Herbert.
Tickets have been starting to be sent out, and there's some potential clues that we might find in what they're expecting for people who's going to actually be physically there. So the WeRobot is just a few days away. Download your ticket now, review the details below, and download your unique ticket before you arrive at the event. Warner Brothers Studios in Los Angeles, California. So as you read more about it, first of all, there's limited on-site parking. We recommend using a ride-share service for transportation to and from the event. So that alone, is that ironic? Is that part of the plan? But this is the weird part. They're letting you get a free Uber voucher, first come, first serve. So limited. Wow, what's going on here? Some people are saying, oh, that might be an actual Tesla that's going to pick you up. That might actually be the actual robotaxi ride. They tell you the agenda. So the parking lot opens at 3, but the doors open at 5. And the actual event starts at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then we'll cover this as well. What do you think about this, though, receiving an Uber voucher?
I mean, a little bit interesting. I hadn't thought that it's possible. It's possible. They could absolutely have the robotaxis on the Uber network for that event, for that specific, very short parking lot over kind of ride. Unless they're saying it's going to be coming from somewhere farther than the parking lot, in which case, I don't know. I think it's possible, but very unlikely.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just an Uber ride. They have limited parking. So yeah. I think that's all this is. But anyways, it's interesting. So here, if you look at, first of all, it says here that you have to be 21 years to attend, and closed-toe shoes are strongly recommended. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the 21 and up part just means that there'll probably be a bar the event, and they don't need to card anyone. If you've got the wristband or the badge, whatever, you're part of the event, and we know. No open-toed shoes. I assume that means they'll hand you your hard hat when you get there, and you'll be put straight to work because Tesla is, if nothing else, a work in progress.
Well, okay. So first of all, I agree with the bar.
I don't know the actual answer. I can't come up with anything. I've seen that for a few weeks now, and I'm like, no open-toed shoes. Well, I mean, they don't say no, but I don't know.
Closed-toe shoes strongly recommended. So I think, first of all, what it tells me, okay, so number one is 21 years and over. I think what they're going to show you is the actual ride, right? You're going to get in a robotaxi. You're going to get to experience it. And so what better way to show this is a lounge, a mini lounge in there, to be able to offer you drinks. And so I think that could be one thing. Drinks in a lounge in the actual robotaxi ride. Closed-toe shoes. Again, you're going to be walking around. You're going to be getting in and out. And some people are joking around that the Optimus might step on you. So
that would be wild. I think it would be an honor. It'd be
an honor.
Yeah.
So the other thing about this is if you look at down here, this is the actual map. And they're showing you, where they want you to walk and check in over here. They don't want you to park. And so that's kind of interesting. And then this guy, JF, is the LA, showed the Warner Brothers studio. And he said that there's a red box, a green circle, an orange line. The red box is the studio's backlot place. The large parking lot is the green circle. He expects that to be the final arrival point of the robotaxi. An orange line is a possible robotaxi driving route within the red box. So here it is. Here's the red box. That's the Warner Brothers studio. And he thinks that the yellow line could be like where they drive you around, right? In the parking lot. And then the green is the parking. You can have the actual event right there, he was suggesting. So
I think you could have the event in that circle. But when I did my video about this, I pulled up all of the different venues that are for rent in there. And there are places in there that hold thousands of people. So you could get thousands of people inside one of these buildings. It doesn't have to be held, in the city court, in the town square that they have. It could be held in a number of different places that would all work reasonably well. And I expect this time of year the weather to be mild and reasonable, but we'll see. I think it's going to be in a building.
Yeah, it's actually 80 plus degrees. It's going to be quite hot there. So hopefully it is inside a building, but we're definitely going to be outdoors. We're going to be going into rides. I can't wait to experience the very first Robotaxi ride ever. Okay, so that's just for fun. We don't know what this is about, but it gives you clues on what might happen. Now, the other thing that gives you clues about what might happen is actually quotes directly from Elon Musk that he has said already in the past. So I'm going to review a few of them and just remind folks. So user Lord Purdifaco, his name is Justin. I just did an interview, a show with him. Check him out on the YouTube channel. He is one of the best when it comes to technical analysis, and he kind of lays out for the rest of this 2024 and 2025 what might happen to the stock based on these what he calls binary events that might happen. So he put together these quotes, some relevant quotes related to autonomy, next gen models, and Optimus. Helps review going into 1010. The first one is, I think this came from the Walter Isaacson book, and it says this: Musk got into one of his very cold moods. Let me be clear, he said slowly. This vehicle must be designed as a clean robotaxi. We're going to take that risk. It's my fault if it F's up, but we're not going to design some sort of amphibian frog that's a halfway car. We're all in on autonomy. A few weeks later, he was still jazzed about the decision. On his plane, flying home from dropping his son off at college, he joined the weekly robotaxi meeting by phone. As always, he tried to instill a sense of urgency. This will be a historically mega revolutionary product, he said. It will transform everything. This is the product that makes Tesla a $10 trillion company. People will be talking about this moment in 100 years. I love that statement, if he did say that.
It's very bold, but is he wrong? If this is what we think it is, this could be, I don't know if one particular event would be looked back on this way, but that's because I haven't seen it yet. When we see the car, if it's something that blows our mind, we already know what the function will be. We just don't know the form yet. Is it something they can build for 20 grand? If you're going to try and compete with Waymo and their very challenging approach, which I assume will get better at some point. I believe that there will be many players that get to true level 5 where interventions are not a thing, even remotely. That will happen. I don't know when. But if your car costs 7 times as much to build, you're at a distinct disadvantage.
I love this sentence so much. And I've tried to repeat it as often as I can because it's just it's telling to you how he sees what this event means. This is the product that makes Tesla a $10 trillion company. There'll be a moment talking about this moment in 100 years. In 100 years, this has to change cities, right? It can change your life, your work, your home. It could change a lot, just everything is designed around you. Then when he talked about why did he move it to 1010, we postponed the Robotaxi product unveil by a couple months where it's shifted to 1010 to the 10th of October. And this is because we wanted to make some important changes that I think would improve the vehicle. And we're also going to show you a couple other things. Moving it back a couple months allowed us to improve the Robotaxi as well as adding a couple of other things for the product unveil. So there you go. Those are his actual words of what to expect. A couple other things that we can show you and important changes that I think would improve the vehicle.
So yeah, I believe that the design is not locked. I'm not surprised that there are big enough changes that they wanted to make. When 8.8 was announced, it was sufficiently far in the future that we knew it wasn't ready. It very much felt like an aspirational date. So this doesn't surprise me. And it looks like they really took the time needed to make this a mega big, amazing event. Doing it at a movie studio lot is your first clue that it's going to be a little different than holding it at the SpaceX or the Design Center or Fremont out by the track. those were all clues too. This is a different clue. So this is, very exciting.
Yeah. I think when he said there's important changes that I think would improve the vehicle, and then later, I think the Bloomberg report was talking about something about the front of the vehicle. I don't think it's a design only thing. Oh, I really wanted to have, boxier look here or futuristic front fender. I don't think that's what this is. This is a feature that's going to improve the vehicle. Could be like wireless charging in the front or charging,
Sure.
right? Connecting to charging. And
ADA access, we don't know, but it's something function related. I would agree.
Yeah, I think so. And then the way he said show up a couple of other things, I guess it could mean anything here, but
It could mean,
also,
yeah,
it could mean a couple of other things, which means products. It could also mean a couple of other things, products.
it could mean we get to see Gen 3 of Optimus. I don't think we will. I think that's so big they want to keep it separate.
Yeah.
We could see the app. What else? I don't know.
Well, it's potential products. It could be the more affordable vehicles, because if it's October, it's closer to them to be able to announce it and then, actually.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then he did talk about, how hard it is for regulation. There are a handful of states that already have adopted autonomous vehicle laws. These states are paving the way for operations, while the data for such operations guides a broader adoption of driverless vehicles, right? So you go to these certain states and then prove it. Once you prove the safety, you can go nationwide. I think Asha can talk a little bit about our safety methodology, but we expect that these states and the work ongoing as well as the data that we're providing will pave the way for broad-based regulatory approval in the US. So this is why when people forget that he said this is this idea that, well, I think I've been saying they're going to launch something like Waymo does, but on a state-by-state basis. So they will go and say, on this state, we're going to now offer robotaxi driverless cars, probably with, like a very specific city maybe, and then get that going. So basically copy the Waymo model versus what people think is they're going to do a national supervised, like let everybody who has a Tesla put into the network now, but you have to be in the car to supervise the FSD driving. And then that's how they're going to be able to prove, learn and prove. I just still don't think so. I'm most likely wrong because everybody says I'm wrong. ARK Invest, Morgan Stanley, they're all believing that it's going to be a supervised network.
I'm in your camp. I think it'll go city by city. Doing it nationwide, I think would be a mess. I think it would be a big mess. And it's not like we would have the capacity to build vehicles quickly enough to fill more than one city at a time.
Yeah. Okay, so there are a few major OEMs that have expressed interest in licensing Tesla's full self-driving, and I suspect there'll be more over time, but we can't comment on the detail of these discussions. So a few major OEMs. So that means it's more than one. Could be two, could be three. If it was two, would you say a few?
I'd say a couple.
You'd say a couple. So anyway, so these are the major quotes that he gave. Now, the bit here I wanted to show. Again, Justin did this. Fantastic. You should follow him at SMD Capital 1010. Check this out. But he had this couple tables here, 5 topics. So here's the themes, and he ranked it in order. And for each of these things that shows up on the event, he said, here's a bull case, here's a base case, and here's a bear case, depending on these topics. Okay, so we'll start with this one. Obviously, the number one thing everybody's expecting is Tesla to come out and give timelines, milestones, the business model, and the product roadmap for robotaxi. And so his base case is that they kind of say vague timelines and milestones, and it's around 2026 plus. High-level roadmap still leaves audience unsure of when FSD is going to be solved or first market launch. No details on how Tesla will launch, manage operations, slightly more details than Autonomy Day. It's funny that he put that at base case because I would have called that bear case. But the bear case is 2027 and nothing. No timelines, nothing at all. Now, the bull case would be if this is like the thing that would just kill, right? They come out and say by the end of 2025, the end of next year, there's going to be imminent, detailed timelines, clear, compelling, walkthrough of business model, unit economics, product feature roadmap is fast-paced, details are thoughtfully nailed down, end-to-end walkthrough of the UX and operations of the app and how it's going to do. What's your thoughts of, first of all, this analysis and what you're thinking?
So I don't know exactly what Justin means by labeling these the way he did. Does he mean the stock market will perceive it that way, or that we will perceive it that way? Because I think the analysts
Yeah.
are really crazy. I agree that these are what I feel. My bull case is the green. My base case is the yellow. I believe a vague timeline is kind of what I'm expecting. But if it is 2027 or later, I think there will be a lot of disappointment out there, and we would still need, the regulatory approval. I'm not worried. It's already covered in like 27 states. It's already approved, more or less. And there are plenty of states where it is already genuinely, like literally codified into possibility. But there are, but that doesn't mean that analysts get it. So I would say I'm on board with all of these.
I am as well. I think that if they came out and said something is going to happen within 2025, which means like within a year from now, that's good enough. We're off to the races. Anything worse than that, it's not good enough because of the hype that Elon himself has given this. Okay, the next one is a pilot program progress and market launch guidance. So if the base case is they reiterate same, we're in talks with regulators, remarks given in the past, 2026 expected market launch, simple, straightforward remarks on the topic similar to ones given in the past. That's the base case. It'd be bullish if they say something like, we expect to launch in 2 markets that will be announced early next year, or shows high confidence in specific numbers as opposed to vague, simple answer. And it would be very bearish if there was no new progress on regulatory talks at all, vague or no clear answers on the topic. Yeah, you just talked about it already, right?
Yeah, we're far enough along that it's not a concern unless they're trying to go nationwide immediately. And I think this will not be released unless it works so well that everyone who sees it says, yeah, we got to approve this in our state too.
I agree with you. Okay, number 3 is the cybercap itself and the next gen production timeline. So the base case would be that it's going to come out in the 4th quarter of 2025 or early 2026. Okay, it's got to come out within a year from now. They reiterate early Q1 for new affordable models. This is like now, January of 2025 for the new affordable models, and late 2025 for the cybercap. That's base. I think that's what we're all expecting. If it's pushed to 2026 or later, that would be very bad. That would be, just not as good, bearish. And then, boy, if they said we're ready to launch a cybercab in Q3, and that the next gen models, these more affordable cars, are coming out in Q1, that would be perfect. They reiterate early Q1. That would be very bullish. I completely agree with this, because if they can say early Q1, we're already in October, like in a couple months, right? 2 to 5 months from now. That means that we're the second wave is imminent. It's here. We're here with more affordable vehicles, and then the next gen cybercab is coming. What do you think about that timeline?
Oh, agree on all points. I would be very excited, very bullish if they said Q1. I would be very surprised and delighted. But I agree that, yeah, I agree with him on these as well.
I do too. Okay, so products unveiled. It'd be a base case cybercab and some light details on the next gen affordable models. If it was just only cybercab only, that would be a very because that's what they said, right? We're going to show you a robotaxi, and that's it, nothing else. By this point, everybody's expecting multiple vehicles, and so that's going to be a bearish case. And then if they show you the cybercab, if they show you the 2 next gen models, the unboxed details, the cost savings, that would be bullish. I actually was the one person who wasn't necessarily bought into the idea that they'll show more than just the cybercab. I think, in fact, what I was thinking was they would show the cybercab plus the platform. The unboxed model shows you that you can have multiple robotaxi versions of this. That's what they're going to show you. And I was a little bit less likely that they're going to actually show you the more affordable vehicles, because those might come, in the first quarter of next year, and they don't want to show it too early. But what's your thinking?
So the compact based on the 3Y, I would be not surprised if they do not show that. I think they will not show that until it is ready to roll, or as close as they possibly can, for risk of diminishing sales of existing models, which I think is a very real consideration, a concern. So if we do see those, flip that all the way over to bearish or bullish, because it means they're ready to go.
Exactly.
But yeah, I agree with all that. I'm expecting to see, like you, one working model and a couple of other ideas of what will follow in terms of other form. Yeah.
Okay.
But we've thought about this a lot, though.
So the big one, of course, is the progress of full self-driving. If they can give guidance of that, that's the Cortex supercluster, what that's going to do. So a base case would be clear line of sight to better than human by end of year 2025, and then they don't say anything else. But if they showed you a clear line of sight to be better than human by end of year 2025, and then they show you for version 13 details and when they think they might get to L4, L5, and how Cortex will accelerate the progress. This is the critical thing, I think. They need to, if they just did all these things, show you the robotaxi and go, yep, FSD is progressing well, but they don't actually say metrics of when they expect it, that would be an issue. And especially since the Tesla AI team was so good in September saying we're going to hit these features, if they just do that again for the next several months and maybe even 6 months, and it came from them, not just Elon, I think that's what's going to really make people feel more optimistic and confident.
I would agree on all that. Now, my question for you would be, what happens if you get there and it's done? It's time. We've already got 30 or 50 or 1,000, and it is time right now. Where does that fall on the spectrum, and how far off the chart to the bullish side is that?
So I think it could, there's actually a real possibility. So people say that, okay, so first of all, the robotaxi itself is not expected to be designed and production until 2026. So for them to say, we're going to build this, but if they're doing this in a Warner Brothers lot and they've invited, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 people, whatever it is, 1,000 people, 500 people, they must have more than one. Okay. So maybe they have 20, maybe they have 30, because there's 30, right? They can make 30. They don't have to wait till high production. And then if they do 30 and go, by the way, we're going to launch it in Arizona, pick a city, grid city, just like
Tempe,
exactly wherever, these guys are doing it. Waymo and Cruise have already done it, and just say we're doing it there. Grid city, why not? They could do that today. They could do that today with our cars now, with my Model 3 hardware 3. It's a hardware 4 now, actually, but my old Model 3 hardware 3 could actually do this today in a grid city and just do exactly what Waymo's doing. And they do the teleoperation to protect it. So that's a possibility, right?
It is an absolute possibility, but how bullish would you be if that's the announcement? Is that we launch now? Yeah. I think that's one of the few things that would actually move the stock.
I agree with you.
In the positive direction, obviously.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Brian. Absolutely appreciated you. Check him out on his YouTube channel. Do me a favor, go check him out at FutureAza. He doesn't just do Tesla. He covers deep dives of quite a number of other companies. He visits factories. He has inside sources that I don't have. So I bring him on board and gets him to spill the beans. That's information that few of the other Tesla, YouTubers actually ever cover. So check him out at FutureAza. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.